Right, today is the day. The 3 days in hospital are up. I've got to go collect them, collect the USL, which is like the 40-day nanny. I'll get into all about that in a while, but this is where the difference from the Western kind of pregnancy thing kind of really is noticeable. The rest of it so far hasn't actually been that different really from giving birth in America or England, I guess. This is the start of the 40 days, as they call it in Chinese, 坐月子. If you want to find out about sitting the month or sitting the 40 days, whatever it's called, stick around. Right, finally, it's time to go home. It was a few more hours than I expected. This is China. They usually love to make a meal of things and make things which shouldn't be that long. Much longer. We had to get all sorts of stuff done, like the hearing test done and like several blood tests, but they just really took a long time. Now I've come in, I managed to get the car in right through to here to collect them, and now it's a fun and games with the cars, because when I came in this morning, I came in one of our cars, the Audi, and that's not big enough to take them home apparently. Don't ask why. So the BMW was already in here. So anyway, I'm going to drive this back home, and then my father-in-law will drive the Audi back home. I think it's like car Jenga either way. I'm just glad to get home. It's always this much hassle here. So yeah, let's get this done. So you can see here, look, the most stylish going home clothes ever. Hang out in the pajamas and the hat. And I and baby go in the back, right here. Get the door open. Right, so we're back, and now this is essentially when the real work begins. This is when it's really different to anywhere else, like when you have a baby in the West. When you have a baby in the West, generally you come back and that is it. You're on your own, you guys are at home. Not necessarily like on your own, but like you don't have the same kind of stuff as you do when, like here in China. China, it's common practice to have something called a USL, which is like a month-long nanny. It's not really, it's actually more than a month. It's like 40 days. So for those 40 days, she will come here and she just helps new mothers transition into, like, I guess it's like helping them transition into being new mothers and getting used to it. For us, this is our second baby and it's not really transitioning, but it is actually super helpful when you've just gone through the whole giving birth process and you've got this person to come and help you. So lying down in bed is a big part of the 40 days. I guess the rest is like the emphasis is all about rest. You need to rest as much as possible. Now, it's not really practical, and I guess some people still do kind of lie down entirely on the bed the entire time, and you're not supposed to look at your phone, you're not supposed to read books, you're not supposed to do anything. In actual fact, if you actually followed it to the letter, it would be the most boring thing ever. Now my wife is doing a lot of lying down because she's doing feeding the baby a lot, and she's doing a lot of sitting and resting, but she's not just lying down entirely doing nothing the whole time, because it's just not practical. I guess in the ancient times maybe, but a lot of people would always blame having waist problems later in life for not lying down enough in the 40 days. So, you know, it's kind of like you need to measure it on what you think is acceptable. Some people do actually go pretty hardcore on this. Showering, big no. A lot of people just don't shower for the whole 40 days. Or sometimes they do, like my wife has been doing it, but she's been cleaned by the eye. She'd make these potions for with Chinese herbs and spices. They'd be like one huge bucket full of this horrible green liquid which smells really weird, and another one for clear liquid for doing the hair, which would be also pretty weird. And she'd boil these up in the kitchen for hours and hours and hours to take her into the bathroom to assist her to wash. So the headband is another important part of this. It's apparently to keep your head warm, and so that if you don't wear this, there's a high chance you could be prone to having headaches later in life. So I should do a lot of cooking. There's a lot of things like the daily cooking, like cooking good nutritious food for my wife, and so then obviously because she's breastfeeding, she needs to have the most nutritious and best food for her body. And also there's like a traditional noodle, which it's tradition in China when you have all the relatives and like guests and people coming to see the baby. You cook this noodle. I don't know if it's got some sort of special meaning, maybe long life, I don't know. So it's a special Chinese noodle with like thin noodles with mushrooms, pork, and an egg on the top. The ai this time is an absolute boss, and she has cooked like a whole house full of people's worth of food. And the food she's cooking on a daily basis is great. It means it's really taking the pressure off us having to do it. So this, big thumbs up from me. One of the most important things to do in this time also is register the birth and get the birth certificate. So that's something I'm doing now. In China, you can't have an English name on the birth certificate if you're going to be a Chinese citizen, which is what my son is going to be, because while living here in China, it makes more sense. And actually, you can have the same rights. England allows you to have the same rights as a non-English UK citizen, basically, while still holding a Chinese passport. If you have a UK, like an English parent, basically, and you have the option to change at a later date, so before they're 18, I think. So basically, you need to go get the birth certificate now and register his Chinese name. The English name we've picked on the day, the Chinese name was picked later. And if you want a quick explanation of how it was chosen, because in China there's a lot more emphasis placed on meaning, here's my wife.
In China, we're more likely to choose the name of the meaning for the newborn. And for our little one, Martin, I choose the name Li Yihang for him. Obviously, Li is a family name, our family name. And Yi is because when I'm more likely to want to choose it to something related to our first child called Li Yicheng. The Yi is the name, means friendly, easy, like, nice to people, and have an easy life, happy. And Han, the third character, Han, means, for the planes taking off, these characters using for taking off or sail the boat in the sea. I hope he can drive his life like a proper driver. He knows what he's doing, and he's in charge of his life. He chooses whatever he likes, makes happy, and he knows what he's doing. That's the meaning of his name.
Right, so all done now. That is pretty much it. Compared to last time, it was much easier. Last time I had to go to like some random building, and there was like a short window when they were actually going to be there, and you had to go in, and there was like this weird like room which wasn't meant for the purpose, but they were using anyway. There was lots of backwards and forwards and going to different rooms. This time, literally just went up to that one desk, threw the stuff down, got them to do some stuff. That was a bit annoying because I had to learn the characters that I needed to sign because I haven't written Chinese for a long time. I can write Chinese, but it's kind of annoying. But I guess that's the least of my worries, right? Got a photocopy of my passport passport and my wife's Shenfengzheng, which is like an ID card. Bam, after a couple more things backwards and forwards and checking some stuff, they printed it out first on white paper to check it was going to be in the right place, and then bam, right out on the actual thing. I'm not going to show you the actual birth certificate because I'd have to blanket too many details, but you know, it's like a regular thing. It's like anywhere. Looks like a standard identity document, like green with all the stuff printed on it. But that is pretty much it. If you like this video, hit me with a like and a comment down below. If this is your first time here and you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing and clicking that bell next to it so you can be updated for more videos whenever they drop. So anyway, guys, peace.